Mayor Bill de Blasio is having a bit of a rough patch, and that's getting Republicans riled up. Business leaders, led by Home Depot co-founder Ken Langone, are reportedly getting ready to start a campaign to go after de Blasio. They want to weaken him heading into the 2017 election, and then, of course, move in to take him down. So, Jeannie, how vulnerable is Mayor de Blasio right now?
At this moment, he's pretty vulnerable. I mean, it's very early, as you mentioned, but he has had a horrible summer, and he in fact has not had a very good 2015. When you look back and say, well, what can he say that he accomplished this year? The list is very short, yet the problems he's had have been, very public, and they have really dragged down his poll numbers. And he's vulnerable not only by a Republican challenge, but I think much more importantly by a challenge from the Democratic side. So we're hearing talk, same thing you're talking about on the Republican side, from Democrats who are saying they are fed up. He has on the progressive left says he has not done what he promised to do, and the more moderates have said he has gone too far to the left. He's been in absolutely a very difficult spot.
Let's focus on the Republicans, at least for now, Dominic. We know that Ray Kelly's book is about to come out. Michael Bloomberg is going to host a reception for him. Kelly's already said he doesn't want to run for mayor, but if he was going to launch something or get his name back in circulation, that would certainly be an opportunity to do so. Who are the other Republicans who might be out there who...
Off the top of my head, I cannot give you one specific name outside of Ray Kelly. I mean, remember, they don't necessarily have to, at the time, be a Republican. Only when they're looking for the nomination, they may run. For example, Mike Bloomberg, who was a Democrat and saw an easier path to becoming mayor by running on the Republican line. And let's not forget, some candidates have ended up in legal trouble and are now headed to prison. Because well, let me just, it's a very important point. Malcolm Smith, because he tried to get the Republican line and it didn't work. The point I'm trying to make to you is this. It doesn't really matter who the Republican candidate is. Things are so bad for de Blasio. Does he make it out of a Democratic primary? And I know you and I disagree on this.
We do. I'm saving that for later in the segment.
You're going to save it for later? Okay. Does he, A, make it out of a primary, which would be unheard of for an incumbent mayor to lose a primary. But if he does make it out of the primary, it does not matter who the Republican candidate is. Look at his poll numbers. He has little or no support among whites, very little, I'm trying to say. The numbers are going down on almost every category. So any Republican candidate that's well-funded and can run a campaign like a Bloomberg or Rudy Giuliani did, even though it's Democratic New York City, could be the next mayor of New York.
I wonder if we'd be more likely to see somebody from outside of politics sort of get drafted into a Republican side, another business person, another person who's not a career politician right now, sort of in a Bloomberg
like
type
a Don
fashion.
Peebles, the businessman, right? Yeah. He's been talked about. I don't know if he really has it. You've got to have a very dynamic personality and a presence about you. I mean, de Blasio came from third place and won, but so many people have said that he continues to act like the public advocate and not the mayor.
So for those who look at the criticism of de Blasio and say that it's been a little excessive or there's been more criticism of de Blasio than other mayors.
I don't know anybody that says that.
And then you... and then you
I know somebody who does besides you. That's de Blasio.
There you go.
Right. That's a good point.
Mr. Mayor, you're perfectly welcome to come on the show and talk to us anytime you want. But now we find out that there's a campaign already in place looking to knock off the mayor. Is there politics in some of this criticism that de Blasio has been facing?
Politics? Heavens, stop it. Interesting you talk about this. I just wrote a piece on this, and I want to tell you that you can look back, and as much as de Blasio and you, and I respect you so much, and I respect him, keep saying he has been viciously attacked by the press more than Bloomberg or any other mayor, it is simply not the case. This goes back through any big city mayor is attacked by the press. And so for him to come out constantly and say, poor me, I've been the subject of attack, that's what happens when you become the mayor. Everybody else, in terms of the amount of press coverage they get, the comptroller, everybody else pales in comparison. You are it, and those attacks come. But what he has done consistently, and which I think incorrectly, is shoot himself in the foot.
The self-inflicted wounds.
Why is he depending on the New York press corps? They're tough to get his message out. Why not go out and talk to people directly? Why not come here with you and take questions from the public? Wall not go on a call and talk show like he did with Brian
That's
Lehrer?
fair.
Give him credit.
That's
Why
fair.
not do town halls? He has been relying on the press and complaining about them at the same time, and also keeps saying that the public just don't understand because they've been misled by the press. That's not the case.
Wait, Andrew, can I ask you one question? As
It depends on the question.
As someone
It depends.
who has defended de Blasio. So now,
And I'm not saying that I love de Blasio. I'm just saying
Okay.
that I think the press corps has been a little unfair to
all
him.
right. So now,
But they're unfair to every mayor.
right.
I don't
so
think
so
they've been
now,
as unfair.
So now
Yeah.
we're dealing with Mayor Andrew Whitman, and there's a standoff in Staten Island, and a firefighter is ambushed, not knowing what's going on, and is shot. Are you going to, after a summer of bad headlines, as the professor pointed out, are you, Mayor Whitman, going to stay at the gym working out?
I really can't answer that question. I'm
why
going to have
not?
to direct you to my press secretary on that, who can answer that question. But I
But-
also
but
know,
you would admit
but I
that-
also,
but
but
would
I
you
also,
admit-
no, but I
but
also
would
know
you
that
admit that's a
Bloomberg. I
huge
understand that if
mistake?
Bloomberg was in the Bahamas, where he was a lot of the times when bad
On
things
weekends,
happen, where he
on
was a lot of the times
weekends.
bad things happen, he would just say like, "My private life is my private life, and you're not
yeah,
entitled
but
to that."
but he had a response. But I'll tell you, look back, because I just looked back. That coverage against Bloomberg was vicious. Remember those snowstorm? He was lambasted, rightly so, by the press. They all are. But unlike Bloomberg, de Blasio keeps what people think of as whining about it, as opposed to addressing it head on.
So let me get to my question, which is that you've got a progressive mayor of New York City who wants to institute progressive reforms that would hurt big business to a certain degree. It would cost business more to do business in New York City. And now you've got an anti-mayoral campaign that is funded by, wait for it, big business interests. And you're not telling me that this is not about the mayor's press ability, or this is not about quality of life, or whether crime is going down in the city. This is about these entrenched interests whose positions are threatened by Mayor de Blasio.
Not at all. You know why? If Bill de Blasio was on his game, it wouldn't matter what the big business leaders that are against him thought, because his base would be there and he wouldn't have to worry about re-election. But he has been, and I say this as I point out all the time, I say this as a friend, as much as a friend as a journalist can be, he has been so awful. There's no other way to put it. I don't know. I want to know who's advising him. His wife is very smart. She used to be a speechwriter for Dinkins. Who's advising this man? So you can say big business is out to get him. They couldn't attack him if they didn't already smell blood in the water. And everybody, Eric Adams.
Yeah, but who's putting the blood in the water, Dominic? Who's giving him the 1,000
The
paper
mayor.
goods?
The mayor himself.
Well, I mean, just the example Dominic gave about the gym. What about him coming out and attacking the governor, but refusing then to have any path forward on that? And he has suffered greatly from that. In terms of the topless women in Times Square that we're going to talk about, the governor comes out and says it reminds him of the pornographic 70s. I mean, he attacked the governor with no chance of having the institutional power to beat him, and now he suffered from it. That's a rookie mistake.
What was that issue that you were just bringing up?
That was the issue, I think, Mayor Whitman, that you're going to talk about next.
Up next, the
Mayor
top
Whitman.
of Mayor de Blasio's
Mayor Whitman.
agenda
Mayor
has been
Whitman.
dealing with those topless women in Times Square. Thanks for stepping on my joke, Dom. The mayor is trying to get to the bottom of it without violating the rights of the people he says are in the wrong.